Tim Kirby Russia hot takes. U.S. generals want to nuke Russia over Ukraine? I can't even believe I'm saying this. Now, of the mainstream media, Fox News is kind of, best of the worst. They've done some bad stuff, they've done some good stuff, but I can't help but praise them for promoting the idea that it's a bad idea for American military officials to push for an agenda to keep the nuclear option on the table over the situation in Ukraine, a situation which hasn't really even quite happened yet and may actually never explode into a full-scale war between Russia and Kiev. But regardless, these people want to nuke Russia, starting World War III, killing all of us to protect American interests in the Ukraine.
What's happening in eastern Ukraine, whatever you think of it, constitute a core American interest, do you believe?
No. Look at what Senator Wicker is saying. I want to go back to that for a second here, because anyone who would propose or even consider what he is saying as an option must be insane, a sociopath, or a sadist. Because let's just understand here. So he's saying, let's go and launch a nuclear attack that would start a war that would destroy the American people, our country, and the world, and also the Ukrainians, so that we can save Ukraine's democracy.
Long conversation, but in a minute, why eastern Ukraine? I mean, you can think of lots of parts of the world that are critical to our national interests, the shipping lanes in the South China Sea, for example, or lots of things. You could argue we have to defend this. But Ukraine? What? We've been talking about Ukraine for years. What is this?
The thing that I see here, Tucker, that is the same neocons and neolibs in Washington who dragged our country into regime change wars in places like Iraq and Libya and Syria, the same ones who are pushing us very quickly into this war with Russia and never stating once, hey, what's our objective? What are we trying to accomplish here? And how does it serve our country's national security interests?
Exactly.
Not a single one of them are pointing that out.
That was really reasonable and worldly and sane. This can't be part of the mainstream media. You know what? I'm pretty sure that later on, this very day, there's going to be something coming on Fox News that's going to sort of level the playing field. There's got to be some warmongers hiding around the studio there. Oh, hey, look, it's Ted Cruz.
Timing is stunning. Biden was sworn into office on January 20th, 2021. Putin began building the pipeline again on January 24th, 2021, 4 days after Biden was sworn into office. Biden waived the sanctions that I had authored, that we had imposed on Nord Stream 2, waived it. At the time he waived it this summer, both Ukraine and Poland said publicly that by waiving the sanctions, Biden was creating a military threat to Ukraine from Russia. And let me tell you, Harris, Biden could stop this today if he simply revokes the sanctions, revokes the waiver, and imposes sanctions, and he's unwilling to do so. If we see tanks in the streets of Kiev, it will be because Joe Biden surrendered to Putin.
I can't really agree with Ted Cruz that this is all Biden's fault. I don't really think that at this moment in time, that this situation in Ukraine is all the fault of the United States president. It's kind of, his job maybe to say that as a Republican pundit, especially when the president is, a Democrat. But if we were to go back in time to 2014 and take away the support from the State Department and the deep state so that the Maidan Revolution never would have happened, shattering Ukraine, sending the Crimea back home, creating the war in the Donbass, that quickly shoved in a bizarre mix of ultra-liberals and ultra-Nazis into the Ukrainian government, things would be cool. And going back even farther, if the breakup of the Soviet Union would have been handled a little bit more respectfully, well, that would have also probably helped to avoid the situation. But here we are on the cusp of World War III over a territory that most Americans can't find on the map. Oh, boy.
But they live in an airless world where they repeat back to one another, both parties, the same stupid talking points. Do they know how disconnected from reality this is?
Unfortunately, it doesn't appear to be the case.
But the thing is, no matter how fair Tulsi or Tucker have been, or how angry Ted Cruz is, or whatever they show on Fox News, the real problem is that the ultimate underlying factor is that Russians see most of what we consider today's Ukraine to be an inherent and inalienable part of their civilization. It's kind of like the whole Palestine and Israel sort of deal, or North-South Korea. The problem is there's no way to resolve something when you have this strong of a view on it. And when the United States really keeps this fake, bizarre, again, fascistic Kiev government in place, it certainly doesn't help. The simplest solution to really end this would be going to the negotiating table, giving Russia the chunk of Ukraine they want back, while at the same time asking for a lot of stuff out of Russia, and we could just let this all go away. Go away forever. I'm not saying that the United States should bow to Russia or bend the knee. What I'm saying is that since World War II, the United States has taken pretty much all of Europe except for Russia. You can give away Europe's stinky, mold-filled, rotten old bread basket.